In 1974, part-time farmer and musician Oliver Chaplin, assisted by his brother Chris, recorded the album Standing Stone. Unbeknownst to them at the time, this album would become highly collectible with only 250 original vinyl pressings. But it's not just the scarcity of the physical media that has garnered Standing Stone its notoriety over the years. It is the songs and the recording techniques used to capture what is best described as mutant psychedelic blues. Standing Stone by Oliver has continued to influence and inspire for over 50 years, and now these songs, published by LUW Publishing, are being reissued on vinyl by the Guerssen record label. My good friend Giacomo from Orbited Factory asked me if I would like to record a cover of one of the songs from Standing Stone in celebration of this reissue. So I'm here at Soundark Studios, and in the spirit of Standing Stone's DIY lo-fi approach, I'm going to use some of my own weird and wild creations to record the song Trance.
So let's do it!
So this is where we're starting off. I've got a vague idea of the parts I want to lay down and some ideas of how I want to lay them down. I'm going to start off with a rhythm part on this Ozark resonator. This is set up to be played with a slide in open D. I also have a guitar pickup which is just hot glued to this guitar, so we are going for the full janky setup. I have my chord cheat sheet here because the structure of this song is pretty unique, along with the amp that I'm going to be using. This is a Little Tikes Kids tape player, which I've modified to work as a guitar amp by soldering a 1/4" jack directly to the tape head so we can plug in, and at full volume this is full on fuzz. Dialing back the volume cleans it up and gives it more of an overdrive. Usually when I do this modification I will disconnect the motor, but I've left this as it is so we can still play and record tape as well as pick up some of that lo-fi ASMR clicking from the motor. Rather than using a speaker out, I'm just micing up the built-in speaker. I've got a little bit of distance between the mic and the speaker itself, and this microphone is a Behringer B906, which is the cheap version of a Sennheiser E906, and I had originally mic'd this up with an SM57, but it was just sounding far too muddy to my ear, and I only really follow the golden rule of get it sounding good at the source, and this was an accidental purchase. So it's the first time I'm using it, but it has this 3-way filter, which is for blues and jazz, classical music or aggressive music. This is set to aggressive music, and it really does help clean up that muddiness and take off some of the harshness. I've got a fair bit of gain on this mic, and it is picking up some of the acoustic resonance of the guitar, so it's a nice mix of the sound of the guitar in the room as well as through this blown out fuzzy tape player. For the bass part, I'm going to use this super short scale Kent bass. This is so short scale you can tune it to A standard, and as I'm playing this song in the key of A, this lends itself perfectly, and I think I'm just going to keep the weird factor for this part down to the instrument and record this as a direct input, and I'll have a little bit of fun later on finding a suitable sound for it. The original song has a filter which basically runs throughout the entire song, so I'm going to try and replicate that part by playing a pretty steady driving bass line with a pick. For the vocals, I'm going to be using this telephone microphone. This is a rotary phone that has had the earpiece rewired to now work as a close contact microphone, so we can just sing straight into this and from the source get that great lo-fi crunchy sound. I've actually been saving this particular telephone microphone for this project, as this is pretty much the exact same colour green as the original Standing Stone album artwork. Some of the lyrics to Trance are pretty difficult to decipher, and I think the same goes for a lot of the songs on Standing Stone. I think it's a combination of the way they were recorded and the way they were sung, and my friend Giacomo really did dig deep to find me a good transcript for the lyrics of Trance, and I am still convinced that some of it is more sounds than actual words, just playing around with what sounds cool and what rhymes, and you know what, I absolutely love it. It's a real vibe. Let's see if we can cook up something similar.
Stormed off down the road, passing by some old fat toad. I should have had to stop to think before dropping my load. Ah, splatter, splatter, splatter. Clatter, clatter, clatter. What's the matter, matter, matter? Said the toad with a grin.
Instead of having one big guitar solo, the song Trance kind of just has a guitar noodling away throughout. So I'm going to use this Guild Jet 90 on the neck pickup, going full fuzz with the Little Tykes tape deck amp. I've turned the volume all the way up, still sticking with the Behringer B906 mic, but I've moved it a little bit closer to the speaker. And I'm also using that middle filter setting, which they say is for classic music. I don't know if this is going to sound like classic music, but it's going to sound like something. The last part for me to record is the outro, and this is just straight up ad-libbing and scatting, and it's the part of the song that really leads me to believe that Oliver isn't always just using words, and it's sometimes just sounds that are cool and work with the song. And I'm going to be using the telephone microphone again, but I'm also going to be using the rotary dial to really lean into the psychedelic edge.
Oh, baby, down low. Bow down now. Bow down, 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 down. I said low. Bow down now. Bow down, bow down now.
So that is everything tracked using this pretty weird kind of oddball gear, and I just love using this stuff because it gives me the sound that I'm after straight off the bat, and it also just inspires me more. It allows me to be a little bit more creative, and there's definitely something to using this gear where you are just immediately dedicating yourself to this particular sound. It is arguably easier just to record everything as a DI and then manipulate it later on, use a plugin to get the sound of a telephone microphone or a fuzzy blown out amp. And I will be using plugins on this stuff anyway, maybe just a bit of EQ, but nothing as much as I would if it wasn't through this stuff to begin with. So I'm going to go away and mix this song, and I guess I'll show it to you now.
Thanks for watching the video, and thanks to Giacomo from Orbited Factory for inviting me to record this song. Be sure to keep your eyes peeled for the vinyl reissue of Standing Stone by Oliver from the Guerssen record label, and if you haven't already heard the album, I do highly recommend checking it out. You can listen to it on Bandcamp or your streaming service of choice. If you enjoy this kind of weird gear, you can find plenty more of it on my YouTube channel, as well as for sale from my Reverb store. Let me know your thoughts on Standing Stone, this approach to recording, and until the next time, keep it weird and keep it wired.